Enterprise Management 360.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tech Chat. Now on today's episode, I'm excited to be speaking with Sean Roberts, who is the General Manager, Public Cloud at Ensono. So Sean, welcome to the show and thank you for coming on today.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Very welcome. And I'm looking forward to getting into today's topic. But before we get there, would you mind just giving our viewers a bit of background on yourself?
Yeah, so I'm the General Manager of Public Cloud at Ensono. And Ensono is a managed service provider headquartered in the US, but we operate across US and Europe. We help our customers with workloads ranging all the way from mainframe all the way up into public cloud.
Excellent stuff. And today's episode, we're going to be discussing Ensono's latest research into the challenges facing SAP IT decision makers. So could you give us an introduction as to what the report investigated and just kind of share some of the key findings with us?
SAP is the center of gravity for a lot of organizations' IT estates, their key system of record. And so we conducted a piece of research to try and understand where organizations are in their journey to S/4HANA and how they see that playing out with the public cloud. And we found a couple of interesting threads that came out of the research. The first thing was many organizations are struggling with that decision on when to move to S/4HANA and how to move to it. And specifically, they're really challenged with building the business case for moving to HANA. And it's not surprising given current world events. There's lots of different priorities, and a big tech cycle of your core system is something that needs to be taken really, really deliberately. The second piece I think that was quite interesting was what came out is that the SAP decision makers saw the value in it. They struggled to stakeholders outside of IT to invest in that time and invest in that decision making. And then the final part is that they really saw that the cloud and moving it to the public cloud and having it in the public cloud has been crucial to the future success of their environment.
Yeah. So how can organizations formulate their future technology strategy in a way that's actually future-proof?
Yeah, well, that's the age-old conundrum. I think technology, the one constant is always change. Technology is one of the fastest moving areas of any industry, but you need to infuse technology into the way you do business. And if you look at what the top 10 most successful companies in the world, they're broadly all software led, aren't they? And they've cracked that. And if we peel that onion back a little further, I think it is less to do with the technology, but the way the organization views change. Organizations that structure themselves and build the culture to embrace change, to fail fast, to maximize opportunities quickly, are the ones that are going to become most successful. Organizations that try to mitigate change in the external environment, they're the ones that end up finding themselves in situations where they haven't invested appropriately. They've got a lot of technical debt, and that technical debt constrains them from being able to do new and innovative things. And at the core of this is really some of the core principles around agile. Agile versus waterfall, there's a place for both of them. Neither is perfect. So I'm not someone who's going to come in here and espouse one view as that's the perfect view. Neither is perfect. Both have their pros and cons. But at its core, agile is about embracing change, and waterfall is about mitigating that change. And so organizations that are able to weave the agile mindset into their business are able to see new things come in, better prioritize those things and make decisions around whether actually that's going to influence what we do in the short term. So if you look at things like the Phoenix Project, the Phoenix Project is a great book, right? Everyone should read it if you're in IT. The Phoenix Project talks a lot about understanding the flow of work and thinking about your IT as a flow of work. If you're able to get that flow working properly, embrace change as it comes, but also keep an eye on making sure that we're keeping our technical debt, we're managing technical debt like we would manage any other form of debt, and that risk in our environment, then I think those organizations are going to be the ones that are best set up for success.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's some great advice. And I did a tech chat not too long ago around technical debt, and it is that idea of keeping that in your mind and being prepared for it as you kind of go forward. So I think that that's very apt. And I also wanted to, just before we wrap up here, I want to touch on obviously the customer's perspective. So how have their expectations changed, and really how should businesses go about meeting them?
Well, I think, if we look at COVID, more people got digital transformation work done in 2-month period than what they probably had planned to do in 2 years.
Very true.
And I think it's that appetite for risk. I think, when I talk to my customers, they, have a pretty high threshold for risk, and they're willing to make, changes and do things that are risky. It's the business that's always constrained them. And I think what we're started to see is a couple of things. One is IT has been the superstar, the hero again of our businesses. Every business suddenly turned to IT, and IT pretty much everywhere has delivered. So I think trust levels with the IT department have increased. And therefore businesses are now saying, you know what, we trust you guys to take on more risk. We trust you guys. If you say that this is something we should do, we're trusting you more. So what I'm hoping the long-term real impact of this is that continues into the future, and organizations just generally are able to move faster than what they have been in previous times.
Yeah, I agree. It's the digital transformation that we've been seeing has been fantastic, and if the trend can continue, and couple that with the agility as well, then we're in for a very interesting 6 to 12 months, that's for sure. So definitely. Sean, thank you very much for coming on this tech chat, walking us through. Before you go, would you mind just letting people know where they can go for the research, or if they want more information on Ensono?
Yeah, sure. They're just ensono.com, so ensono.com. And in there, you'll find the SAP white paper and all the research. We have a bunch of videos, lots of interesting content for people to go and find.
That's perfect. Well, Sean, thank you for coming on and doing this episode with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Cheers. And thank you everyone who watched this episode. We hope you did take a lot away. Please do head on over to ensono.com and check out those fantastic resources. We'll be back next week with another episode in our Tech Chat series. In the meantime, please join the conversation at EM360 on Twitter and LinkedIn. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. And of course, for more great daily content, head on over to em360tech.com.